Hello. Testing. Waiting for the stream to catch up. Okay. Is the things doing the things? Hello, testing. Okay, testing. Okay, cool. All right, I think it's good. Hello, everyone. So, yeah. So, hi everyone. This is Risa, and this video will be a little different from my other cosplay videos because I think it's a little more vlog style, and if you follow other YouTubers, you can sorry. You can probably tell who I was inspired by, and I basically wanted to challenge myself to make alien stages till completely for free and only using materials and tools I had at home. Now, was this a smart idea? I'm not sure, since I almost hurt my wrist for this. No, wait, I did hurt my wrist for this, but I was being stubborn. And more importantly, I just really wanted an excuse to talk about my history with alternative, goth, grunge, punk fashion, and I wanted to break it down in a couple of different stages. So yeah, I guess we could get started, and also thank you anyone who is watching this live. And feel free to include any questions. I did prepare this little PowerPoint thing, this like slapped together PowerPoint of my best attempt at explaining it. But yeah, so feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat. It could be about Till, it could be about Alien Stage, you know, it could be about cosplay, or it could be about anything else. So if you have questions about any of my underwater stuff, you can also ask about that as well. But the main thing this stream will be talking about is how I made Till. So he's not the most amazing cosplay in the world, but he's one that I'm pretty happy about and pretty proud about, and also because I actually took a sufficient amount of work in progress pictures of it, so so it is. Unlike most of my cosplays, this one is actually documented. Documented very well, I mean. So, yeah. So, alright. Alright, where to start? Okay. So, and I guess one important detail is that I have already been collecting 15 plus years of my own stash, and I promise that will tie into the alternative and punk and all that jazz conversation as well later on. And I'm also part of a very well-developed cosplay community, and we share knowledge and resources with each other all the time. And also my mom's stash has years of supplies as well. I also rarely throw away art supplies, trash even, and old clothing that have potential uses. And I also know how to get stuff for free or cheap, as well as, you know, just being I'm in a very lucky community, so to speak. Because, like, over 15, 18 years, there's, like, a growing cosplay community. You just sort of end up becoming friends, want to help each other, and I help them, they help me, and yeah, this is, like, really a community thing, which also ties into what I wanted to mention about some of the other stuff later on. So, and part of why I'm extra excited about Rock Band Till is because I really like alternative fashion, and in real life I don't necessarily consider myself punk or goth anymore, even though rock is still my favorite music genre. I would say the bands I listen to are probably too mainstream and pop, but I used to be kind of alt, grunge, goth-ish, and a lot of my personal clothing and accessories already fit his aesthetic. So my boots, my pants, my band t-shirts, belts, chains, pins, already done. All that with no modifications needed. So, yeah. And speaking of those already owned pieces, here is my stage 1 of personal fashion history, and I'll talk about that. And then, so next, let's see. And I realized I had these on the wrong slide. But this is, I guess later on when I edit this in, will be the section where I am talking about the personal fashion history. Yeah, I might edit that in later. Hold for a couple of seconds while if anyone has any questions. Yeah. I guess a little bit of what I can say. So I have worn Till a couple of times, even though he's my newest cosplay, and as you can see, the base clothing, really just my normal clothing. So yeah, my normal clothing, the base clothing, reusing fashion, yay! I guess sustainability? Question mark? I mean, this is a fairly sustainable cosplay, considering almost all of it is old clothing or trash, which I will get into when I talk about the guitar. So, yeah. Okay. Alright. Hopefully... Alright, cool, yay! Alright, so... Alright, and next. So, Till's beanie was cut straight from a very old hoodie, and I just sewed up one side. Honestly, this was the easiest thing in the world to make, and now I finally have a solid black beanie that I've always wanted to own. The other important detail is that this beanie will actually cover up most of my clear wig, which is white and not gray. And I'm reusing Clear's wig for Till, and also a future cosplay, Blade from New Carnival. And for now, I'm calling this stage the modification time. And speaking of modifications, alright, hopefully... Alright, okay. So, next I turned an old pair of gym shorts into the arm warmers. The black strips and the elastic are from a scrap pile of discarded clothing being turned into rags. The buckles are literally some random paper clips I found. And here's the twist. While sewing the paper clips, I may have messed up my wrist by being very stiff. So, as a side note, even though I've been cosplaying for over a decade, I'm still very new to actual sewing. And just to toss this in there, I also made this ghost face. I also made this ghost face pin out of paper, and I just Mod Podged it to cardboard. And at this stage of Till, I was making stuff from scratch, sort of, some of it. So it makes sense to talk about how I ended up developing my own mishmash of alternative fashion. Alright. Hopefully this changed. Is this working? Okay, there it is. Yay! Okay. Alright. So, and now here's next the hardest clothing item. The spiked collar. What I would recommend for most people trying to make Till's collar for free, either glue spikes to a pre-existing collar you have. So if you have a dog collar that's big enough for your neck, or making a fabric or foam collar from your stash, or just buy a or just buy a professionally made one. Um, in general, leather materials are harder and more expensive to come by. However, I did take a leather and bootblacking workshop a few years ago, so I still have some of my old leather working tools and even some leather scraps. Not all of it is still with me though, so I had to get a bit creative. And let's see. Okay. Alright, so this section will be a bit long. First, if you do have a normal strip of leather, you can skip this step, but because I had to join 2 scraps to fit my neck, I did have to poke holes without a stitching chisel and sew the pieces together. And, you know, and yeah, because I didn't have a stitching chisel, I had to use it all instead, and luckily this isn't load bearing like shoes or a bag, so I'm not worried about needing like super tight stitches. And next, the snaps. And here's a part where I should have just given up and bought a leather hole puncher, or even go to a makerspace or ask a friend to borrow a leather hole puncher, because I know so many people that have them. I had multiple options to do it for free if I weren't as stubborn. So the grommet maker I had didn't have the right size for the snaps that we were using, so these snaps took 2 people to make in the most convoluted way of all pushing and like tiny scissor manual cutting. It was awful, and I'm sure it fucked up my wrist even more. So don't be stubborn, just get a damn leather hole puncher if that's the best tool. So anyways, we used grommets to make those snaps. And I will link a tutorial on how to install ring snaps in leather the correct way, not the way that I did it. And for the spikes, I want the holes now, before I dyed the leather. Okay. Just backtracking a little. So for these spikes, I actually made the holes first before dyeing the leather. And by this point, I did have a leather hole puncher. And this time I got on video of me struggling by myself because the spikes were just screws and the holes could be smaller. I'm pretty sure I should have like just swallowed my pride and gotten a damn leather hole puncher. My wrist really was in pain now. And alright, I just gave up and got a leather hole puncher. And yay, using the right tools work. So, and then there's a couple of different ways to dye leather. When I made my belt, which I'll go to in a bit, I used real, regular leather dye. But that's because I was in a workshop and I had the access to it. Currently I don't. And I ended up using a Sharpie because that was alcohol-based ink I have at home. Ideally, Angelus leather dye would be the best choice, but leather acrylic paint is also an option. Oops, I might want to backtrack and cut that a little. I cut. I will go back and edit this in correctly. Alright. So there's a couple of different ways to dye leather. This time I also didn't have leather dye, so what did I do? Sharpie. Sharpie is actually an alcohol ink, and after talking with a couple of leather workers and seamstresses, it supposedly works better than fabric paint or trying to mix acrylic paint with a fabric medium. And another tip that I got was to keep it curved while coloring it and in storage. I did a couple of coats of Sharpie, and I dare say it looks almost as convincing as real leather dye. To seal the Sharpie, I conditioned it with Lexol, I coated it with angelic acrylic finisher, which I did have, and I buffed it out. Then I finally screwed in the spikes. And ta-da! The collar that fucked up my wrist more than normal is finally done. So, alright. And regarding the leather belt, I think I may talk about that. What is next? Okay, too early. So, regarding the leather belt, that I actually made in a professional leather workshop that tied in with my bootblack training. And so that one, I just went to the workshop and learned how to do it correctly, and it is by a miracle that I managed to find this picture from so long ago. Well, not that long ago. Actually, I think it might have been. No. Yeah, it was not that long ago, but it was like definitely not recent. So yeah. And yeah, that is the belt that I've worn for. I have several black belts, but yeah, that is the one that I've typically worn in pictures for Till. So, and yeah, so I am planning on making a Till video. I also want to pair it with some story time about punk fashion history, as well as my own history with alternative goth punk fashion. And so here are some old pictures that I have of me as a high schooler and then a college student, just trying to figure out my fashion sense, so to speak. So, all right. So, a quick brief summary is that, like, when I look back into my high school and my college days, I actually, for some reason, I have changed computers and cameras multiple times, and unfortunately, I don't have pictures of most of my outfits that I wore. I can say that in high school, I was a stage tech kid, and so I had a lot of black. And I was also on Zanga and Guy Online. If you know where to find those videos, yeah, you know where to find them. You can see what my avatars look like. And my avatars and the OCs that I was drawing, like, those were the fashion that I wanted, because I was emulating the singers I was inspired by, which at the time, anime weebs, we made a lot of AMVs, and Within Temptation and White Night Wish were like two of, I would say, the most popular song choices or singers that people use for AMV makers. And yeah, that was just cool singers I wanted to emulate. But couldn't because I was in high school and, you know. So yeah, and I'll probably get more into that a bit more accurately. But I thought these were the coolest things in the world. This girl, actually, I don't know if you could see. Yeah, that girl in the center, not in high school, but later on in college, I did actually have several outfits that were just mishmashed together and DIY'd to make it work for that one. And I think I just called myself, like, artsy fartsy. And then college onwards, these are my dance covers. I got into K-pop. K-pop, definitely not punk, it's like the most mainstream possible music, and I enjoy the heck out of it. I loved it so much, I ended up on YouTube. In a weird way, dance covers, even though I technically started out, like, how should I say it? Like, I technically started out on YouTube for some very weird reasons. Yeah, I was just using YouTube just to use YouTube. But I did make AMVs like every other cringe weeb at the time. And yeah, so yeah, then I got into K-pop, and I would say I'll go more in my video explaining exactly like who my specific inspirations were. But yeah, so I would say a lot of this was also my clothes from my closet that I just DIY'd and smashed together. And then I is adult with college, post-college job. I'm old enough to go to clubs legally, and now I think is when, once again, I don't have pictures of most of them. And so, like, these aren't the best photos, but these are the photos that I was able to scrounge up. In my future video, if I'm able to find, like, better pictures, I will try. But this is what I was able to find in, like, a day. But yeah, so obviously none of these are the exact clothing that I'm wearing for Till, but, like, I have this giant family of clothing that was all within this mishmash of slightly alternative clothing-ish. And yeah, so I just really liked it. Not just for the aesthetic purposes, like the music choice was a big thing, and also some of the things that these clubs and that these musicians like. There's more to it, but that requires a bit more research and some more eloquence of me figuring out how exactly I want to explain it. Because you could, like, how should I say it? Alternative fashion is alternative for a reason, and like, I want to say it's not just looks, but people do it differently. Yeah, I'll go more into this properly in like the longer video about it. But yeah, but yeah, I thought these were pretty cool to show of what my personal alternative fashion history kind of looked like over the years. And yeah, and you can see from the lack of tattoos and having an actual full head of hair in some of them. Yes, some of these were not recent. So yeah. And then, now that I have yapped sufficiently about the clothing part, yeah, so yeah, what I would do is let me scoot back to. Did that work? No, I think that did not work. Okay, let me scoot back this way. Okay, you know what, this will work. Alright, so, okay. At this point, I would say at the 32-minute mark. Alright, okay. So now, throwing on some of my personal alternative clothing, my clear wig, and the clothing for Tail is done. I kind of failed on doing it completely for free, but this leather hole punch kit is a very useful tool, and I'm glad I finally have one of my own. Okay, and then back to the guitar. Alright. Ooh. Me. Alright, so let's see, there's check to see if chat had anything. Okay. Oh my face. Alright. Where are we? Alright. So, let me move up here. Yeah, that way I'm not in the way. Oh, this is kind of weird too. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll put myself over here as if I'm talking about it over here. Because, like, you know, during the... Whoop. Right. So as for the Freddy guitar, I'm not a stranger to cardboard props that can disassemble. One day, I'm still hoping to make my tutorial on how I made my interchangeable cardboard chainsaw. But until then, talking about my tail guitar is the closest closest I can get. And there is actually another cosplayer, Resachiic, who actually made a fully breakable Freddy guitar. It's very cool, and I like it a lot because it's also a full accurate version. I've made mine simpler because I couldn't figure out how they did it, and that is okay, you know? So, over here, that I'm pointing to is a small-scale prototype to see if my plan would even work. And what my plan was that I would cut 4 cardboard layers, 2 top layers, 2 bottom layers, with cuts for the foam core support and the magnet attachments. The handle will also be removable and attached via magnets and wire. And so... Alright, so I traced all my pattern pieces and I cut them out on cardboard and foam core board. You might notice that in my blog post with the pattern for it, I didn't have a pattern piece for the neck, and that is because I literally just traced my yardstick on 2 layers of foam core and 2 layers of cardboard. And I ended up going with a 22-inch neck because that felt proportional to me. Upon research, electric guitar necks tend to be 18 to 22 inches, not including the head. And then I scored, taped, and glued all the layers, primarily using rubber cement, Mod Podge, and hot glue. I ended up using Mod Podge as a primer, and then sprayed and sealed everything. That's the part where I'm talking about. Mod Podge. Yeah, so there, yeah. Right, and then the eyeball is actually made of a googly eye that I got from a friend, and I painted it with nail polish, gel polish, and acrylic paint. It's sealed with Mod Podge, resin, and and a whole lot of hubris. Like, a lot of hubris. And then all of that is attached with hot glue and even more hubris. I had to fix it several times. I fixed it after, like, taking it to the first event I went to, then I had to fix it before going to ALA, then I had to fix it after coming back from ALA. Yeah, that eyeball was supposed to be easy, but ended up, you'll see in the footage, it ended up not being as easy. So, yeah. And then the transparent part of the neck is actually plastic packaging, like just trash, and I found that Scotch tape and packaging tape was actually more secure than hot glue. Let me get an angry face on. Nope, that's not the angry face. Yeah. So, and attaching this cut-off plastic packaging, I think it was for, like, earplugs or something, I don't remember what. And, yeah, so I found that Scotch tape and packaging tape was more secure than hot glue, super glue, and resin, like actual UV resin, for connecting the plastic head. Sorry. Let me. This was stupidly frustrating for no reason. But yeah, let me re-say that again. So I found that Scotch tape and packaging tape was more secure than hot glue, super glue, and resin for connecting the head to the plastic packaging to the neck. Then I attached the magnets, the strings. I made the whammy bar, which was really just wire. This wire. I think 3 gauge wire? Exactly how many gauge wire it was. Just regular old wire, the same kind that I used in my underwater cosplays for holding out the structure of fabric. I hot glued the shoulder straps, and then I hot glued the back support strap. The back support strap was actually entirely unnecessary. The magnets was strong enough to keep the entire guitar together. However, it's also just for extra support in case someone else knocks into the guitar prematurely. And the exciting thing is, I did manage to record the entire making. The fun thing is, I did manage to record the entire guitar making process, so hopefully that video will be up sometime later this year. It will probably have to be a separate one because it's more footage than my Gyarados tail one. Okay. So yeah, okay. So I think that covers all that I really had to say about Till and the guitar. Right. So let me see. All right. Let me see. I guess I do also have several. Oh, I guess one thing I can share, and let me see. Let me put myself back down. Let's scooch up, scooch up. Ah, okay, you know what? I think I can do this. Alright. So can I zoom in? Nope, that's a no. Okay. So alright, so here, let me see. Is that gonna point correctly? Okay. So part of and I will go into it in the more properly researched video version, but part of what was I think a lot more, I guess, like, how do I phrase this right? Okay, to put it bluntly, punk is political, alternative is political. Like, if you're into the music and the fashion and everything, you can't detach punk and alternative fashion history from its political roots. And that is one of the things that I'm going to touch on. And one of my favorite pictures, and I'm so bummed I don't have more pictures of it, is like in one of the venues that I had in 2016. We had a pinata of Trump, and we smashed it. We tore it apart in protest. I did go to protests during this period of my life. And yeah, so that is, I'm not quite as able to do that anymore, which bums me out, but feeling like putting on Till takes me back to those roots, and it makes me a little happy because for anyone who has watched Alien Stage, Alien Stage is an entirely fictional story, but there are some political metaphors that are available in it that you can read into it, and like they have a rebel faction in there, and Till the character he after Alien Stage blows up, um, due to Mizi, who I think, like, Mizi is so cool. Honestly, I think she is, like, I do like Till a lot, and wearing him feels great, but I think I like Mizi a lot, as, like, I like them for different things. But I like wearing Till because it's closer to what I have, and because the music speaks to me a bit more. But story-wise, Mizi, she is the one that actually gets anything done. It may have been for personal reasons, but she broke Alien Stage. She destroyed it. She destroyed her oppressors. Kind of in the fictional cheat way where they kind of tie it into a personal story to be able to, make it more personal. But, she was the one who got something done, even if it was by accident. So, yeah. And anyways, so Till currently is still alive. Spoilers for the webcomics. But yeah, Till is still alive, and now he's part of Hyona's rebel group. And so, yeah. Putting him on kind of takes me back to those days when I did go to protests, when I was more punk on the alternative. And yeah, I think somewhere in there is where I'm going to tie the metaphor is where I'm going to tie the metaphors together. And I also feel like this is something we may also need. And so, yeah, there's a couple of people in my community that are doing cosplay as protest things, and I highly recommend checking them out. I will link them when this proper video comes out, as well as at the end of the live stream if I remember to. If I don't remember to, poke me to do it. It's a cool thing. And yeah. Where else do I go with this? I also do want to be careful with my word choices because, this is the live stream. I don't have things edited and, like, properly researched out. But, yeah. So I could go back to guitar now. But yeah, if some other protests that I guess I do want to suggest checking into, there's a lot with the No Kings protests going on, and I highly recommend going and supporting them, whether it's actually being able to go in person or something else, or some other methods. Other people are doing much cooler work, and, like, this fulfills what this cosplay fulfills things for me. So, yeah. Let me see. Alright. Okay. Well, even if no one currently has any questions, definitely feel free to drop questions in the comments later on. Or you can poke me on other social media. I do have a Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, so you can definitely drop those questions later on. I think for now, I'm just gonna grab some tea, and when I come back, I will have a different thing to talk about. So, yeah. Thank you for listening to this so far. Yeah. So, let me be right back. Okay, so okay, is that showing? Okay, hopefully. Hello, test. Okay, cool. All right. All right. Cool. So for now, I think, since this is on a weirdly me topic, instead of my usual like games and talking about Till ended up going much faster than I thought it would be. I guess I could also briefly talk about my cosplay history. And at the moment, I'm still moving photos. It's not very well archived on my site yet. Still a work in progress. But yeah, so I technically... I scooch this over. I'll just scooch this over. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so it's still incomplete at the moment. So, but yeah. So, in 2008, at the time, I was in my high school anime club. We were playing Guy Online. Had been reading manga since middle school, technically, from the library, like in-person physical library. And yeah, so I ended up, after joining my high school anime club, I ended up doing Robin Cena for, I think it was for Halloween, if I recall correctly. Does it scroll down far enough? Yes, okay, yeah. Alright, yes. So I think it was for Halloween or something like that. I don't have... I did find some physical pictures of it, but I don't have any like digital pictures aside from this one teeny tiny little screenshot from a webcam that I took from that I took from my old family computer, I think. Yeah, so I don't have very many records. Eventually I'll digitize the photo. At the moment, I don't have them digitally. But fun fact, the dress that I wore for Robin is the same dress that I use for Ballgown Mimikyu and Ursula. The one that can go underwater and that I have sewn lights into. And the dress part, that has now been cut up, and I have used it in a couple different places. I think my most recent was for Vaporeon at some point. Yeah, so, yeah, I think that is what I most recently did to it. So, yeah, my two oldest cosplays still have pieces of me today, or I still have uses for it today. I don't know where my shirt went, but I do know also at the time that I picked Robin because she was wearing glasses. And I didn't wear a wig, I just tied my hair up into her little, like, bun things, and I just did it like that. And that was my first cosplay ever, of which I have 2 physical pictures, and that's it. So, and then next is, okay, I have records of it, so I have pictures of it on my cosplay.com, but I have almost no memory of it happening, but pictures of it exist, so I'm sure it must have happened. But in 2008, I went to WonderCon for the first time, and that is when I did Kagura Soma from Fruits Basket. And like, I have pictures of me performing and pictures of me at WonderCon, so I must have cosplayed it, but I don't remember anything about it. I'll be honest. And the pictures are really bad. So, yeah. And then at some point later on that year, I'm pretty sure it was for my school's like a club festival or something like that. And we decided to do the Fruits Basket Cultural Festival, where we had the anime club, where we had Yuki in the dress that my mom made, and yeah, everyone else was just everyone else, and I was Saki. Pngtuber. So, yeah. So, I think, yeah, those were my first three cosplays. And then I went to AX, and I did Makona, and a very bad Sarah run from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. Then, in 2010, I think 2010? I have no idea when I did all my Nabari no O cosplays, since all of my images of it are like videos of a very bad ninja cosplay challenge thing that I tried to do with me and some of my friends. I think it was 2010. I'm not sure. I think I still have the raw original videos somewhere. They're somewhere on one of my hard drives, I think. I'm not sure, but they're gone from YouTube now. But yeah, at some point that happened. And from that series, that web series that I did, I did Miharu, I did Yuete, I did Nabari, my friend did, I can't remember what else that we did. We did a bunch of characters. Do I remember most of the details? Oh yeah, one of my friends also did Fuma. Yeah, it was fun and cringe, but also it was a thing that a lot of cosplayers were doing back then. So yeah, at some point I also did Lucy Harphelia from Fairy Tail. Now, the interesting thing about all these first cosplays, Fruits Basket, the Clamp series, and Nabari no O were the only ones that I actually read or watched. Witch Hunter Robin, as I mentioned, I just looked that up to look up characters with glasses. I'll be honest, I still have not watched Witch Hunter Robin. I don't know. I don't actually know what it's about. I confess. And same thing with Fairy Tail. I've never watched Fairy Tail. I don't think I would ever be interested in Fairy Tail, but I did it for the anime club. Yay! Because I think we also had a Fairy Tail group at one point, if I'm remembering correctly. And then we did a Reborn group, and so I was Chrome. And I actually wore Chrome a couple of times. And I think, yeah. So, yeah, I think, I wore Chrome a couple of times, even into college. And I had her Trident. Don't know where it is now. But I had her Trident for a while. But I do still have her eye patch. Yeah, I do still have her eye patch, and yeah. What's next? Okay. Oh yeah. So Reborn, I didn't watch. Fairy Tail, I didn't watch. Witch Hunter Robin, I didn't watch, but I did get into The Gray Man. And I think this ties in a little interestingly when I talk about Black Butler and The Gray Man, because both of them are also gothic fiction, and I know that really spoke to my emo goth little heart. And those two were what, I guess, like, that and music and political shenanigans that were going on at the time. Because if you might have noticed, 2008, that was the year that, oh shoot, the recession happened. Yeah, so I did not have access those first couple of years to be able to dress depressing, aside from, wearing my stage check clothing. But, like, Black Butler and The Gray Man really just came in at the right time. Obviously that came in later, but, like, I was reading those series before I got into cosplaying them. I was not cosplaying them at the same time. Because at that time I was using actual physical manga. I do have some of the volumes up there still, as well as using Manga Fox, if anyone remembers that. I don't know if Manga Fox is still around, but I do remember that I was also using a couple of sketch websites to watch the animes, including the original Crunchyroll, which, by the way, if you didn't know, Crunchyroll actually used to be a pirating site. Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, where was I going with this? Okay, yeah, so I got into Black Butler and Do Gray Man. I didn't cosplay them right away, but I was like into them. And I think I didn't cosplay them until a couple years later. And so yeah, I ended up doing Lulu Bell, Do Gray Man. I was also into Air at the time, and I won't. And the interesting thing is, if you look at my original cosplay name and my DeviantArt, you might notice that my username was Air Anime Chic. And that was because I was also really obsessed with Air. The anime. I didn't have the visual novel, so I didn't have that. I didn't know it was a visual novel, actually. I only knew the anime itself. And yeah. So I was also really obsessed with that. Is that a sign that I would end up getting into harem series later on in the future? Maybe. But also it could have been a sign because I was also into Fushigi and Fruits Basket and Oran High School Host Club and what's another technically harem series. Like, they're not harem series technically, but they are characters that have a harem of love interests. Yeah, these are signs of what I would be into later on. So, yeah, I've been into that for a while. Anyways, so yeah, and then where is it? Yeah, so I did end up doing Kano. I do still have. Do I still have her dress? I am not sure if I still have her dress, but I do still have a wig. And I think I do still have the blouse somewhere. Yeah, and then oh yeah, aside from that, I did also get into Italia, and while I was so the fun fact, while I was looking up my Gaia online avatar for that slideshow, that very elegantly made slideshow, I did see that I was in several Italia forums, and looking at my old DeviantArt, I had a lot of Italia fan art. Like, a lot of Italia fan art. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Italia is a complicated thing. If you want to know, not my state of mind, Italia is complicated. I do still have all of Hungary though. Her dress has now been cut apart, and I just wear it at. My mom made Hungary actually. The skirt part is now cut apart, and I just wear it as a skirt. But the top part, I don't fit it anymore, but I do have something exciting. Because it has the puffy sleeves, and it kind of looks like it could be the top to a sailor, to a magical roller uniform, like a Sailor Scout style uniform. And here is one plan that I do have, and is that I want to do a magical girl series of all the evolutions. So I will have another version of Vaporeon again, but that green puffy sleeve thing, I want to use that for Leafeon, and I think that would be very cute. I have no idea when I'll get around to that though. It is not happening this year, but hopefully I get around to it eventually. Who knows? But anyways, so Hungary, the wig I still have it. Yeah, the dress I still have it. I have it in pieces. The bandana, I think I still have it. Apron, yeah. Basically, I still have all of Hungary. And it, like, with the original dress, it didn't fit it anymore, but it's now been modified into pieces that I do fit. So, alright. And then, I don't know what happened between 2011 and 2014. But I think, I know what happened during that. That was my YaoiCon era. So I don't have it listed here on purpose because they are all really bad cosplays. They're not good at all. I'm pretty sure I wore Nobari no Ogen at that point, but I did end up cosplaying Ritsuka. Wait, hang on. No, my first version of Ritsuka. Because I went to YaoiCon 2011, and then YaoiCon had issues, and then, yeah, what the hell was I doing between 2011 and 2014? Because I know I went to YaoiCon in 2011, and I wore, like, my first bad version of Ritsuka, and I think I wore Maharu again. Yeah, something happened to 2011, 2014. Oh, I got into K-pop. That's what happened. I got into K-pop, I kind of stopped cosplaying, and yeah, I wasn't... Yeah, so I guess, like, aside from wearing that one really bad closet cosplay of Ritsuka, I didn't really make any new cosplays, but I was into K-pop, and I think this is where the majority of my internet public persona is visible. You can see all of my dance covers. They are still there. And they might not be my best dancing, but I think I had a lot of fun doing them. Looking back, it was rough. I was not the best dancer, I'll be honest. There was a lot of things I could improve on, but I think I ultimately had fun looking back on it. So, yeah, and I think in my other live stream of looking back at my old videos, that is where, yeah, I reacted to my K-pop dance covers there. So, yeah, so I think I took a seat back from cosplaying to do K-pop, but I didn't stop going to conventions because I know in 2012 was my first time entering Fanimaids Masquerade, Fanime Masquerade, and that one I think I covered a K-pop dance. I don't remember what it was. I did something for the Fanime Masquerade. But yeah, so I was still, and I believe actually that is when I started staffing conventions too. So yeah, that happened, and then 2014 I came back with a new cosplay. I had gotten into air gear, and so that is why in that one picture, that one picture where I was showing a picture of me in my rollerblades, yeah, I got into air gear, well, technically a while back, and who I really wanted to cosplay was Akito and Akito, which might be more foreshadowing, but yeah, but back then, A, I didn't know how to make the wedding dress, B, I didn't know how to make the orange suit thing, because at this time, now I had moved out, not living, and sometime during this period. Long story short, I was now solely relying mostly on closet cosplays because I didn't know how to sew. I only knew how to work with trash, like cardboard. So what could I do? Buy cheap stuff, or use clothing that I had. And yeah, so air gear, Ringo ended up being my go-to, and that is also, that is also when I finally slapped together some pieces for Grell. And I think, like, Grell made me really happy because I had been wanting to cosplay Grell for a few years, ever since I got into Black Butler. So now I finally have a Grell cosplay, and I have worn Grell several times. I'm skipping over Ritsuka because technically I feel like I wore him before, but my only pictures are from 2011 and 2015, which I will get around to organizing at some point. But yeah, so Grell. I love Grell. And also I was in that era of time where there were translation errors, and people assumed Grell was a dude in the West because translation errors and internet not being fully educated. But yeah, so so here is Grell. I've worn her several times. Yeah, so the first ones were all, I would say all F anime. But I would say one funny story about Grell, and this is actually my Ringo wig, by the way. And I do have pictures of Ringo. I still need to get through them and have them up properly. But I would say 2015, yeah. I would say 2015 was probably my worst con experience, as in, was I only attending or was I also staffing that year? I don't remember. But yeah, so the interesting thing about Fanime is you see that chainsaw, how there's a black blade over here, but over here in this bathroom picture, now it has the spikes and the foil. That entire Fanime, I spent the entire time in my hotel room. Yeah, I don't think I was staffing yet because I was doing what I was doing. I'm pretty sure anytime that I wasn't out, I was putting that chainsaw together. So I think I put part of that chainsaw together for the gathering, the Black Butler gathering, and then I finished putting the rest of it, like, on day 4 or something. A miserable, miserable time. Don't do this. Don't con crunch. That was, like, the worst cosplay decision I ever made. Oh, and there's my fishnets. Okay, yeah. So one thing I definitely had was fishnets. I just couldn't find any pictures of me in my fishnets at some of the my older alternative-ish places, and yeah, so and then yeah, I wore Grell again for yeah, so I wore Grell a couple more times, and wore Grell again and again and again. And then finally 2024 I managed to throw well, technically 2023 I finally managed to make what I call my second final version of Grell's chainsaw. And this one is the interchangeable chainsaw that I really want to make a tutorial about. Not tutorial. That I want to make a video about explaining it because I think it's very cool. And it did technically, when I was wearing it with Yuzuki, it did technically win a judges award. And yeah, so that is like the other disassemblable cardboard item that I am pretty proud about. This one was actually these two chainsaws. They're also different chainsaws. Yeah, I have so many Grell chainsaws. These are two different ones. Two entirely different ones. This one was a trash one made in hotel over a weekend. I think this one I had made, yeah, that's a completely different handle, completely different blade. Yeah. So yeah, this one was much better. I am very sad about this handle though. I have no idea where it went. I also have no idea where this blade went. And yeah, I think the rest of it I trashed. But I'm pretty sure these either got damaged or something. I don't know what happened to them. So I'm very sad. But yeah, those two, if I could have kept them, would have been great. The main body, it was an improvement from that one, but not by much, I don't think. But yeah, so I'm glad this one was finally made, or this chainsaw was finally made. And yeah, I'm still using this one. And earlier when I mentioned that I was doing a blade cosplay, I'm specifically referring to, let me see if I can do this. Okay, here we go. Will this load? I just do. Alright, well, okay, it's designed to this load. Oh, here we go. All right, so yay! Okay, so this blade over here has a chainsaw. Yay! So this is the other chainsaw cosplay that I really wanted to make. And this one, I think I'm going to be able to document the process and then use that as the way to be able to, whoops, and then use this to be able to finally explain how I made my interchangeable chainsaw, like, properly. So, yeah. Alright. So... Okay, then, Yuzuki Yukari, Vocaloid. At the same time, amongst all of this, like, as I mentioned, when cosplayers were making AMVs in the 2000s, late 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s, they were also using a lot of Vocaloid, and I was also really into Vocaloid. I had wanted to do Vocaloid cosplays, and in fact, my dream cosplay is Kalnika from by Dano 3000. But she is near making her would, like, I would say she's probably my favorite Vocaloid, question mark. I don't know if she's actually a Vocaloid or if she's Utao or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. But that one is so complicated and will require a lot more skill and abilities that I currently have. That one is my dream cosplay. Not happening anytime whatsoever. If it happens in the next 10 years, I will be surprised. But yeah, so in the meantime, I did manage to make Yuzuki Yukari from Vocaloid. And she also has a chainsaw. And pictures will eventually get uploaded of this one. I do have multiple pictures of her, luckily. Yay! And that one was one that won Judge's Choice Award for the interchangeable chainsaw. Yeah, so don't have pictures of that one. And okay, so aside from that, I was also into Pokemon long before. When I was a kid, I had watched Pokemon on TV, Gen 1. I didn't play until, so like my family and all my friends, like in the playground and stuff like that, we had a Game Boy Advance, so like and we also had a Game Boy DS, I think? DS or 3DS, I forgot which one. We had a Game Boy Advance for sure. Technically, I played Kirby, but my siblings, they played Pokemon. And so I did sort of like shoulder watch my friends playing Pokemon. And yeah, anyways, so, but I had not actually played myself until 2016 when the world fell apart again. And Pokemon Go came out. Pokemon Go brought me, I was one of those people that came back due to Pokemon Go. So, yeah. I never played Sun and Moon. I'll be honest, I'm not particularly interested in playing Sun and Moon. Partially because of some of the complaints I heard about it, and also because I don't have... You know what? If Sun and Moon came to Switch, I probably would, but I don't think it's on the Switch. Is it on the Switch? Let me backtrack this. And double check. Okay, they're not on the Switch. Yeah. So currently I can't play them because they're not on the Switch. But like I would, so I could. Yeah. So let me clarify what I meant. I would not pay for whatever handheld that Sun and Moon was on. Which handheld were they on? Oh, they were on the 3DS. Okay. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, because I have an Advance. I think one of my siblings had a DS, but we don't have a 3DS. If I recall correctly. And I also don't know where it is. Anyways, but yeah. So, in a hypothetical world, if I did have a way to play Sun and Moon, sure I would. But like realistically, I'm not interested in getting a 3DS. So I probably wouldn't. But yeah, anyways, so Mimikyu, and the other interesting thing about Mimikyu is that I think that is also technically the last cosplay that my mom made for me. So this whole time I have not yet mentioned, well actually I did mention, my mom made several of my first cosplays, so honestly I owe everything to her. She is like, I really don't think any of this would have been possible without my mom. So yeah. And let's see, where else with this? Yeah, so I think Mimikyu was the last cosplay that my mom made, and I cherish that a lot. And also I cherish Mimikyu the Pokemon a lot, so much that I now have a tattoo of it on me permanently. And I also have two plushes, several keychains. I have a lot of Mimikyu stuff. It's my favorite Pokemon. And yeah, I do have, I have it on Shields. I also have it on Violet. No, do I have it on Violet? I don't know if I caught it on Violet yet. I do have it on Shield though, and I do have a couple Mimikyus on Pokemon Go. And I know that every single time Pokemon Unite has Mimikyu available, I know... yeah, one time I did manage to play as Mimikyu on Pokemon Unite, but then the other times I just watch, and I'm sad that I don't have it. But yeah, so yeah, I love Mimikyu a lot. And I have some, like, and it's also, so liking Mimikyu aside, oh wait, I forgot to actually pull it up. Yeah, so liking Mimikyu aside, it's also my most comfortable and favorite cosplay ever. Oh yeah, that one picture in my old photos. Yeah, that was actually underneath, I was just wearing my quote-unquote normal, quote-unquote goth clothing underneath my Mimikyu poncho, and that is why it is my absolute favorite. Because it is literally just a poncho. I can wear whatever the heck I want underneath it. It is so comfortable. It hides your face, so you don't have to wear makeup. It's amazing. And yeah, everything about this cosplay is perfect, and I love it a lot. And I still wear it today. Like, honestly, if I'm going to a con, chances are I'm bringing Mimikyu just so I could slap something on real easy. And I also did take it underwater, which is a fun fact. Yeah, so I did an underwater shoot with Mimikyu. So, yay! Part of this live stream still ties into underwater stuff. A little bit. A little bit. But yeah. This part of Mimikyu is probably not ever changing, but I do have a very fun plan that will require some additional resources because I've also wanted to cosplay the true form of Mimikyu. Or not the true form, because obviously we don't see the actual true form, but there's several fan art renditions of it, and they look so cool, and I want to do that, but they are also very complicated, and, like, I am slowly collecting trash again for not Mimikyu, because my goal is to have 1,000 eyeballs and mouths, and they're all gonna be lightweight out of cardboard, or like, stuff like that to not weigh down the various appendages that I'm using to support it, as well as the dress. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. So, as you can see, I'm still wearing it today. I wore it at the last couple cons that I went to as well. Just didn't take pictures of them. So, yeah. Alright. Mimikyu love aside. Yeah, I did also... Yeah. I also watched Sailor Moon as a kid when I was growing up. On actual TV, I think. I'm having, struggling to remember exactly what I watched it on, but I'm pretty sure I watched it on TV because I have the VHS tapes of it. So I'm pretty sure that I watched it on TV, since I have the VHS tapes of it. And they're like the family recorded VHS tapes, not like we bought it from the original Netflix or something like that. Original video store, not original Netflix, because when Netflix was still a brick and mortar store, it was only renting DVDs, or only renting VHSs, if I recall correctly. But yeah, so I did also do Luna from Sailor Moon, and I am hoping to bring back Luna again. I want to wear her again. The timing wow, this is not very good loading. Okay, well, when it decides to load. There we go. Alright, okay, yeah. So, yeah, another pure closet cosplay. This one is, yeah, another entire closet cosplay. I think it looks pretty good. And yeah, that wig, that black wig has been through so many things. It is technically part of my Resachiic wig. It was in almost all of my yaoi gai wigs. And by, it was also, was it also Lulu? No. Yeah, I will go into this in my full tail video when I also talk about fashion. For some jobs where I wasn't allowed to have my dyed hair, guess what I did? I wore that black wig! So, oh yeah, and that wig was also used for both Dubari and Fuma. No, we didn't use it for Fuma. We use it for Fuma? I can't remember. Okay. Yeah, not much to say about Luna, I think. Because I technically didn't watch the Princess Kaguya episode. I only watched all of the original first one that was aired on WB, I believed. Yeah, and I'm realizing, yeah, there are a couple of breaks in history. I wasn't always cosplaying continuously. I've been cosplaying like off and on. During those year breaks, I'm pretty sure I just like wore old cosplays, because as you can tell, I have a lot of cosplays. I could just wear another one. And I know for a fact Mimikyu I was wearing like every convention I was going to. So yeah, okay, and then Doki Doki. So Doki Doki I think was the first time that I cosplayed something on trend. And by on trend I mean like internet trend. Because Doki Doki was really popping off, I think. At least I'm pretty sure. At least that was the reason why I cosplayed it. And like I'm not counting Hetalia, because I was like in the trenches of Hetalia. And this one I think I was doing this. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I don't exactly remember why. But I'm pretty sure this one I did it because Doki Doki was trending. Oh yeah, and I did. Now I was on Instagram. Well, I was on Instagram a while ago, but I was using it for like other things. I think I was just using it for, what was I using? Oh, I was using it for dance. Specifically pole dancing. That's what I was using Instagram for. Yeah, that's what I originally got Instagram for, was to use it for pole dancing. And then I ended up using it for nail art. But I think this Doki Doki Literature Club was... that is another friend of mine, Crafty Sorceress. She is amazing. She's a... I'm just a pleb. I'm still, like... Even though I've been cosplaying for, as you can see, over a decade, I'm not that in the crafting side yet. I'm still learning. I still consider myself, like, relatively beginner when it comes to sewing. Because I am still a beginner when it comes to sewing. But she is someone who actually has, if you saw my live stream about Vaporeon, she gave herself a much better introduction. But she's master level cosplayer, instructor, maker, all that cool stuff. She actually knows what she's talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so yeah, this was a very fun horror shoot, and then COVID happened. So yeah. Alright. Yeah, and I think... Oh no, I guess I didn't slow down during COVID. Okay, I thought I took a break, but not really. But yeah. Let's see. Okay, then I did Vaporeon. I think... Yeah, so Vaporeon, the underwater shoot was not the first time. The underwater shoot is my favorite Vaporeon shoot, but it was not my first time wearing Vaporeon. I had made a Vaporeon in 2020 during COVID, because depression. Everyone was having pandemic depression, you know? But yeah, so I made Vaporeon, and then wore it again and then again, and then again, and again. Yeah, and here's another one, and there's another Vaporeon. Yeah, I have a lot of Vaporeons at this point in time. But I think my favorite one will always be the underwater one, because that is what got me into mermaiding. And that is kind of what changed things for me, I guess. Because I do also have another video in the future that I'll talk about, like, underwater cosplays, because it is actually relatively new to me. I've only been mermaiding for 2 years, and I did it specifically for Vaporeon. So yeah, I like Mimikyu is my favorite Pokemon, but of my favorite evolutions, I would say it's Vaporeon, and I swear it's not because of the copy pasta. Also because, like, let's go through this. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, like, I had if you go to my Pokemon Go, I have Vaporeon is like one of my highest leveled up, highest combat power Pokemon in there. I think in a weird way, Pokemon Go was what got me to like Vaporeon again. And like I had been planning to do an underwater version even as far back as that, but I just didn't have like the methods and tools and stuff like that. And yeah, so Vaporeon kind of changed things a lot for me. And one thing that does still amaze me to this day is that Vaporeon's underwater video kind of brought me back onto YouTube. So after quitting K-pop cover dances because I was just sick and tired of the YouTube copyright problems, because yeah, in fact, when I was looking at old video scripts that I made one salty ass video that was supposed to go up about ranting about how much YouTube hated cover dancers, because it was striking all my videos, it was taking them down. I think several of them are back up now, actually. But yeah, music copyright and dance covers was a whole hassle that I was just tired of dealing with. And it was a mess back then. Things are cleared up now, I think. So even though people complain about it, like, yeah, the whole hassle of dealing with K-pop music was just enough to turn me off, to make me think I was gonna quit YouTube. And lo and behold, my underwater Vaporeon video is my most viewed original video now. And that kind of got me thinking, maybe I could come back to YouTube. Let me try to make another video and see if anything happens. And yeah, then underwater stuff got me back into making YouTube videos. Ta-da! And this time I have the safety of not worrying. Well, okay, I don't have the safety of worrying about copyrighted music. It's just that the rules for copyrighted music are slightly clearer. Other things are a mess now, though. Don't let me get started on the confusion when it comes to generative AI and the word AI, and the amount of confusion that causes, and the amount of frustration that causes. Because, and I might talk about this in the future, generative AI and artificial intelligence are more complicated things, but generative AI has just made artificial intelligence just so much more confusing and frustrating, and it's not a fun time for anyone, aside from people who are trying to make it a thing. I guess it's a fun time for the investors, but for everyone else, it is not a fun time. You know? So that is a different train wreck. But yeah, so YouTube has different train wrecks now. Complicated story. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Also more pandemic things. So as I mentioned, I had gotten into K-pop. I didn't leave K-pop, I just stopped cover dances. And I think, yeah, I got really into BTS. Here is... Oh, yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure these might have been... Were these my pants that I used for one of the tills that I wore? Yeah, I think these are the pants that I wore for till. I think. I am not sure. Just to backtrack, yeah, I think most of this is a closet cosplay, aside from the props that I made myself, as well as... What did I use for a collar back then? I have no idea what I used for a collar back then. Oh yeah, 2 friends helped me with this cosplay as well, long distance. The harness is a commission from a cosplaying tofu, and the shirt, the Gucci was vinyl printed by another friend of mine. So yeah, and for both Crafty Sorceress and cosplaying tofu, I believe they take cosplay commissions, so if you want to go check them out. Oh, my face disappeared again. My face back? Hello, face. Hello? Okay, there we go. Yep, okay. Alright, I'm back. Yeah. I don't know what that was. But yeah, okay. So... Yeah, here's another BTS fan art cosplay. Oh yes, this one. Oh yeah, I also have Jin from Mightism AU. This one, I was a fan of Mightism AU, and I believe she has done... Oh no, that's a different artist that has done very well famous art. But yeah, she had some BTS AUs, and this is where I made my super power bending poi props. And yeah, Yep, I don't really... Okay, so technically, Jin, Sunvamp AU Jin, which I will remember to upload pictures eventually when I get there. That one was my first time sewing parts of it, like for real sewing parts of it, and Jungkook, specifically, was my first time sewing even more pieces. So I have touched on almost all the pieces of this one. Yeah, if I recall correctly. Yes, yeah, the props entirely, I sewed those things, and to be honest, oh yeah, this is some of the other leather working that I had as well. So I used some of my leather supplies for the poi as well. And yeah, the coat I made myself. I cut that from work scrubs, and that belt, I just hemmed it, I think. Obi? Belt? Oh, here we go. Here's a better picture. Yeah. The pants, hot glued, I'll be honest. So it's passable, it's working, but it's kind of hot glued. The hat, I sewed the strings myself. The mask, I think what I did with this one is that I just cut a shoulder seam, and then I sewed Cookie on it. And then I used Sharpie to draw on the face, I think. Yeah, so rough first attempts at sewing. And then Attack on Titan. Yeah, so I also, post-pandemic, I got into Attack on Titan, and I think there is a clip of a friend that I recorded back when I was trying to do YouTube the first time around, of me saying that I was never going to watch Attack on Titan because it was too popular. And look at me now! It's also one of my favorite series. And yeah. This cosplay, entirely bought. So, yeah. So, but I am, like, bot cosplays are totally valid. I would say I have spent the majority of my cosplay time with stuff that are bought, whether it's like my own clothing that is technically bought, even if I didn't buy it for cosplay, you know, it was bought to put in my closet. So technically I did buy something for it. So yeah, but this one, yeah, so this one was entirely bought. I did, however, do I have pictures of it? No, I don't have. Do I? I thought I had pictures of it. Ah, here we go. Okay, so the one thing I did make for Kanji actually was this cloak. So this is a cloak is a different one from the one that I borrowed from a friend. This one is made of I forgot. Shoot. Okay. Well, this one was made from like some stash fabric that seemed like it was going to be fireproof. And what my plan for this cloak was going to be was that I was going to soak it in fire retardant and set it on fire. Because spoilers, for anyone, spoilers for Attack on Titan Season 4. Hanji dies, trying to kill, a bunch of Titans, and it gets set on fire. And they die. And, like... Is this loading? Yeah, so you might notice this Hanji cosplayer has little flames on them. And yeah, so that's what I want to do with this. I am not actually going to be on fire. It's just a cloak that will be on fire. And then I think I plan on photoshopping me and the cloak together. So this one has been made out of scraps to be set on fire and potentially not to come back from the fire. But that is a dream. I don't know when that photo shoot will happen. But that would be very cool if I could get that to happen. But fire is very dangerous. Water is also dangerous, but I have been swimming for most of my life since I was like a little child. So I have a lot more experience with water than I do with fire. I have no experience with fire. So that's not happening anytime soon. And then, okay, so oh yeah, okay. So, new carnival. Yeah, Aiden, pure closet cosplay. That is it. And the brown wig that I use for Hanji and several other brown haired characters. Yeah. I do have pictures of it. I will upload it when I get around to that. But yeah. Then I made Gyarados. So, yeah, this was my... Yeah, so half of this was... so the cool thing about Gyarados is that I liked the underwater music video I shot for this one a little better. I'm just gonna mute myself, grabbing some water. Holy crap, my voice. Okay, testing. Okay, yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, so, yeah, Gyarados. I like this underwater music video a lot better, and I made several improvements compared to Underwater Vaporeon. And also, the other cool thing about Gyarados is that this version of Gyarados, alright, okay, is my first full cosplay made almost entirely from scratch by me. The tail, I have another video of it explaining, showing how I sewed my first tail, and that tail is also the first thing I ever sewed from scratch entirely. That I also patterned myself. The shirt is my Vaporeon shirt that I modified. The swim cap, mask, all the other accessories that are on my head, those were stuff that I learned from mistakes from Vaporeon. Because I learned that EVA foam and water don't mix very well. It will be very hard to swim with EVA foam pieces, because if you think about it, foam floaties, they're made of foam. So yeah, so I made several alterations to Gyarados to be able to make it work underwater, and this one was also my first craftsmanship win ever at a Masquerade cosplay contest, and so that was very cool. I got a judge's award for the chainsaw, but this one was my first like best craftsmanship award. So that was very cool. So yeah, and I felt very happy, even though it was my first piece of sewing. So I'm not entirely sure that award was warranted, but yeah, it was an award. So yeah, okay. Then, oh yeah, so these are, I don't think these are in order of exactly how I did it, but yeah, I do have an Ursula that I thought was going to be complete, but now I have some crazy plans for Ursula, and so it is not complete now. It is back to being a work in progress. And oh yeah, as I mentioned, that dress, this one, yeah, this dress, that one is actually the same dress that I used for Robin, Cena, my first cosplay ever. And by use that dress, I mean I safely pinned it up to look like a short black dress. Yeah. Clear, I do have pictures of him. I will upload them when I get around to it, but yeah, he's pure closet cosplay. Vi? Oh yeah, I had also gotten into Arcane. And this one is, I would say, tied with Mimikyu for most comfortable cosplay, because this one, I don't have to wear a wig. That's the best part of this one. And I want to wear it again at some point. And like the top actually is actually pretty comfortable, and I do have a tutorial on how I made it. I guess the only uncomfortable part about Vi is like all the body paint. And yeah. So, but yeah, I love Vi for many reasons too. I'm a slightly disappointed about how she ended. But you know. Oh, and then Melodic. So Melodic is my most recent underwater cosplay. For timing purposes, for obvious reasons, underwater cosplays are not a year-round cosplay. You know, if you're in some parts of the world where the winter is cold, probably should not be going swimming in an outdoor pool to take pretty pictures of your underwater cosplays. So that is why during the winter months I don't have any underwater cosplays, because it's not, you know, it's not a smart idea to, during flu and cold season, to jump in a cold pool to make yourself even colder. And I think some pools actually close their pools during the winter anyways, so yeah. But yeah, so I think honestly now, if I take comfort as not an equation, I think Melodic is my favorite cosplay that is uncomfortable. Because I just feel, I think the one thing that makes Melodic different from Gyarados and Vaporeon, their underwater versions, is that I feel confident in underwater Melodic. And Vaporeon, I think Vaporeon I feel more comfortable and confident on land. But also it is my most recent one. So like, it's the one that I have most experience with. And also the best monofin with. Because, yeah, Vaporeon was my first time trying mermaiding, and that was like my beginner level monofin. Suntails, good for beginners, I think. But I was, you know, not as confident at that point in time, but now I'm more confident. So I think confidence levels is what makes melodic feels better for me as a favorite uncomfortable cosplay. So yeah, I feel very confident about how I look in melodic. I feel very confident how I swim in melodic. It's just very, very fun. And I love melodic a lot. So yeah. And also the underwater music video. I think that is my favorite one that I've made so far. Because it's the coolest in my opinion. And I want to spread some of the Vaporeon love to melodic. So if you want to, go check out my melodic underwater music video. I think if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. I think it's a lot better than Vaporeon and Gyarados' underwater music videos. So yeah. And then the other cool thing about melodic is that it has won 2 awards. Now, the first one was MagWest's Best Craftsmanship. And again, I don't know why I won, but I'm not going to question it. And then recently it won a presentation award. Not a performance award technically, but like performance adjacent. So yeah. Then yeah, last year a friend got me into Alien Stage, specifically Crafting Sorceress again. And yeah, Alien Stage, I guess like Arcane and Alien Stage kind of brought me back into my slightly rebellious mood phases. Like, and how should I best explain it? This one has a lot of feels. Yeah, so I like Till a lot. Mizi, extremely easy to do. I wish I could do. I wish there was something more interesting I could do with her though. But yeah, she doesn't really have much in terms of interesting props. And Till has a more interesting prop that was an interesting challenge to make. So yeah, I think Till is my most recent. Yeah, Till is my most recent new cosplay. So yeah. Yeah, I have several others that are work in progresses. And they will happen as they come. And I have been... Anything else here? Nope. Okay. Yeah. That will eventually... Yeah, I'll... For the ones that I do have pictures for, I will upload. For the ones that I don't, lost history, I guess. So, yeah. Let's see. What else can I say? Yeah, that. Okay, this is actually a great way to wrap it up. Because I am now back to Till, my most recent cosplay. So, yeah, I hope this trek down slightly unorganized memory lane was interesting, maybe? I'm not sure. But hopefully it was interesting to see, to look back on it, kind of like when I was reacting to my old videos, I guess. And yeah, if anyone does have questions, you can leave them in the comments about how I made any of the things that I did end up making, or have questions about anything upcoming. When it comes to crafting stuff, crafting related questions, I'm definitely more on the prop side of things than the sewing side of things, and I would have more experience and information regarding props. But yeah, I think that's it. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for listening, and I hope it was kind of interesting. And for anyone who's watching this later on in the VODs, also thank you as well. So yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend, and while I'm having a picture of another rebel again, I'll be live streaming Dramatical Murder again on Sunday. So yeah, and hopefully that goes well. I mean, the characters aren't having a fun time, but hopefully we have a fun time, because I believe that part is now when we're finally starting to go and take down the government. Maybe. Not sure. At some point it will happen. At some point. But yeah. Alright. So, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah. If you if you want to, you can subscribe. And if you also want to, I now have a Ko-fi. So if you want to check that out, you can as well. Thanks so much, and have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye!